Good morning, World Fam, and Happy New Year. And welcome to another interesting episode of Building Sustainable Wealth. In the last episode, I had spoken about 5 interesting tips that should help you in wealth building. And what I said in the last tip was that it is important for you to have a budget for everything. I added that I have a template that I use for myself that I was going to share with you guys. So today we're going to quickly walk through what I have named the zero-based budget planning template. What that basically means is that every kobo, naira, dollar, pounds that you earn is accounted for, which is on the other hand similar to the fact that you have a budget for everything. So you account for every naira before you earn your salary. You already know how you're going to spend it. And I deliberately wanted to make this available at the beginning of the year, just before you earn your January salary, so that way you go into the year before you earn your first salary, you already have a plan for your money, and that helps you to build sustainable wealth. So let us get straight into the sheet. I'm just going to walk you through it, and then I would share a link for you to download it in the description. Thank you, and let's go. So when you download the sheet, this is what it will look like. Of course, it has the headings. I'll just quickly explain the headings and then how you would use it. The first heading you have here is category. Of course, there are two categories of how you can plan your money, either investments or spending. An investment literally means money that you're putting somewhere to work for you, you get a return on it. And spending is money that goes, it's not coming back. It's gone. So under those two different categories, I have suggested some items that I have on mine and that I think you may also have on yours. And there are different kinds of things. There's different kinds of investments. There's then on the spending side, I have a travel fund because travel is very important to me. So I set aside some money monthly for travel. And then there's lifestyle, there's recurring expenses, there's black tax, and then there's other gifting and miscellaneous. Now on this part, you remember how I had said make sure that you have a budget for enjoyment that goes into this lifestyle budget. And let me just add that what I've done here is to then, for my own use case or as a suggestion, put percentages to each of these items. So what this means is that you need to basically set a plan for how you want to spend your money, and this sheet helps you to do that. I would advise that the first place you start from is your recurring expenses, because those are things that you really do not have a choice but to do them. So you need to fuel your car, you need to pay your rent, you need to pay school fees, you need to buy groceries. So decide how much that costs you in a month and how much of your salary you need to set aside to do that. So once you fill that in, for me it's about 20%. And you may want to break this down depending on your use case. You may want to separate rent and school fees for your kids and stuff like that. But left to me, I just jumbled it together and it's 20%. And then what is left of that, there are rules around how much of your salary you should be investing. By this template, I would assume that you are investing about 55% of what you earn. But again, like I said, this is not hard and fast. This is just break down this percentage in a way that is reasonable and in a way that works for you. The spaces that I have left here, these three lines, is in case you have any other items that are personal to you that I have not listed here, you can list them. And once you list, for example, you have, I don't know, dependents or whatever you want to call it, and you want to put 4% in that one, what that means is you need to reduce some other thing here, maybe reduce this to 16, because then it must always be 100. So this check here helps you to check it. And that's really just it. So now the budget here is saying this assumes that this just helps you to put a number to it. This assumes that if you earn 1 million in a year, the moment you put this 1 million at the bottom, the other rows will populate. For example, if your own salary is 1.5 million and not 1 million, the moment you change this to 1.5 million, all of these numbers also populate and lets you know how much you can spend on these other things. So this guy is budgets, is budgets, is the guy that helps you to check. Now you start putting your actuals. In January, you earned 1 million. You put it here. The moment you put the 1 million that you earn, again, it populates and tells you how much you can spend on all of these other things. All of these places have formulas, so you don't need to do anything. The only thing you need to put is put how much you earn. Now, if how much you earn varies, so for example, in January you earned 1 million, in February you earned, maybe you have a business, so in February, or you had a bonus at work, so in February you earned 2 million. The moment you put the 2 million also here, okay, I put 20 million. The moment you put the 2 million here, it also populates and tells you how much you will spend on each of these things, right? Now, because this is not a hard and fast, there are some months you may want to reallocate. For example, you saw a good deal for a private investment, so you decide to allocate the money for long-term security here. You can change this to 0 and then put 400 here, right? What happens with that is at every point in time, you still have 100%. And then you use the year to date actual to check how you're doing year to date. So, as I was saying, in February, right, you reallocated because you saw a good deal for because you saw a good deal for a private equity investment, even though you were supposed to do 200 here and 200 here, you reallocate all of it into 400. So now your private equity for February is 0. The way that you would keep track of that is this year to date guide that I have added here, right? So now year to date, you're checking if your percentages are still as they should be. What has happened here is because you have reallocated money from long-term security to private equity, long-term security is now short year to date by 6.7%, and this guy is higher by 6.7%. You now have a gap, or you have a gap here and an excess here. So what that means is that you need to make up for that either next month or some other month before the end of the year. So it's not hard and fast. You can really reallocate, especially because sometimes you see a good deal somewhere that is not going to be available next month. So you can reallocate, but make sure that you are reallocating reasonably. And please, when I say you can reallocate, don't reallocate from investment to spend. You can also reallocate across spend, maybe reallocate from travel fund to lifestyle and you pay it back next month. But make sure that you balance it out before the end of the year, such that at the end of the year, you would have no gaps here. But this just helps you to, the gap column helps you to check how you're keeping track. If there's any way you've reallocated and you need to make up back for it. So that's really it. So the point of this is really that you have a plan for your money before you actually start spending it. And that way your money doesn't come to you unawares. Your money doesn't come to you and you don't know what to do. You can really plan your money and you can, of course, build sustainable wealth, like I always say. So, like I said the other time, I'm going to pin this link to download these templates in the description so you can download it and make use of it. And if you have any questions, please feel free, or any questions while you're using the template, feel free to ask me in the comments. The green row here at the top just helps you to check, especially when you are reallocating, sorry, that the total is still totaling with your salary. So you don't need to change anything there. Again, quick recap, the only place you need to fill is the grand total column. And what you need to do is to just put how much you earned that month. Like in this month, you earned 1.5 million. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. It tells you how much you're spending on all of those things. And if you want to, it's only when you want to reallocate, that's when you need to like maybe toggle some things there, maybe. And I forgot to mention, please, if you do not have an emergency fund, please focus on building up your emergency fund before you start doing all of these other investments. So that is really it. And I would see you in my next episode. Stay wealthy and bye for now.